Story time about how my Bumble date tried to choke me. I mean, he was literally trying to kill me. This was by far the worst date I've ever been on. Let me just say, I've had really bad dates. A little backstory. It all started last year when I left my broke-ass boyfriend. He would expect me to pay for everything because I was earning more money than him. So literally from one day to the next, I kicked him out of my apartment and I had all this newfound freedom. Now here's the thing. My friends all use dating apps and they never had such bad experiences, so I figured I should try it out too. To tell you that one of my best friends got married to one of her Bumble dates, I had high hopes. I downloaded Bumble the day after I broke up with my boyfriend. It was probably too soon, but honestly, I was just trying to have fun. My first date was okay. I wasn't necessarily attracted to this guy, but he was very successful and very funny. And when a guy can make me laugh, that goes a long way. So it kind of tricked me into believing that he was like, okay. So I decided to go on another date with him. Only the second time, all he kept talking about was Trump. So I got up from the table and I left him there. I mean, that's one thing about me. If I don't like you, I will straight up leave the table. I mean, I'm not wasting my precious time on some guy. After the first date, I decided to give it another chance. I ended up going on a date with a guy who I'm pretty sure was gay. The whole time we talked about his best friend and how great his best friend was, and he definitely sounded different. So by the end of the date, I asked him if he was bi. He acted all offended and said no. So obviously, I never went on a date with him again. When I got home that night, I decided to get back on the app and look for another date, as you do. And that's when I saw the guy, the one who choked me. Let me start by saying he was definitely the most attractive guy I had seen on the app until that point, which was one of the reasons why I really wanted to go on a date with this guy. Up until that point, all these other guys were like 5s. He was definitely a 10. We connected right away and he asked me out on a date that very weekend. And I said yes. I was so excited to actually meet this one specific guy because he was so attractive. I went all out and went to get waxed. I got my hair done. The weekend comes around and we end up meeting at a bar. We met, sparks flew, it was amazing. But after 3 drinks, he started getting very aggressive. He started grabbing my butt and everything else, if you know what I mean. That's when he started getting sexually aggressive. Like really bad. He had only had his 3rd drink, which led me to believe that he probably had a couple of other drinks before he came to our date. He was trying to grab at everything. My butt and even my V. Of course I pushed his hands away, and the only reason I didn't leave is because I'm like, okay, he's had a couple of drinks and he's probably just attracted to me, instead of telling him to stop and straight up leaving the bar. After 45 minutes, I told him that I was gonna go home. Then he says, I need a ride home, can you give me one? And I said yes. Big mistake. We get into my car and he actually started gagging, like he was gonna be sick. I asked him to get out of my car and he said, no, I'm good. And that's when he just leans over and starts trying to kiss me. Instead of a normal kiss, he got up on the chair and on top of me. And I told him to stop, he grabbed my neck. 30 seconds later, I woke up. So yeah, he had choked me. He looked terrified. He got off of me and just left the car. I went straight to the police and they told me that they couldn't actually charge him because I didn't even know his real name. It turns out on the app he had used a fake ID. I reported him to the app, but nothing happened. What should I do?
Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she's not curvy, she's chubby? Yes. So my girlfriend, 23 female, and me, 26 male, have been together since 2019. She used to weigh about 125 pounds at 5'8", and she was pretty thin. The past 13 months, she's gained 25 pounds and now weighs 150 pounds. She continuously calls herself curvy, and that's just not true. Her breasts did not grow with the weight gain, and she's still a 34 A cup. Her thigh and butt area did grow a bit, but she's still not an hourglass. I hope she dumps him. I wouldn't be bothered by this if she didn't heavily identify with it. When she was 125 pounds, she kept identifying with how thin she was. At 125, she was proud they couldn't see anything in her CT scan when she had appendicitis because she was too skinny. At 125, she was proud they couldn't see anything on her CT scan when she had appendicitis. She wants to make a TikTok fan page dedicated to curvy fashion. I got annoyed with her identifying so much with a body type that isn't even hers, and I said, you're not curvy, you're chubby. She looked at me stunned, and I told her curvy was like Beyonce, for example. She said that she felt like she was curvy because she's not skinny anymore and not fat. I told her that's chubby, you're chubby, and she began to cry and left my apartment. I would too. It's been 12 hours and we haven't talked since. I know this was mean, but it was true. I was so frustrated with the idea of her making this fashion TikTok account for a body type that's not hers. Also, she hasn't had an eating disorder or anything.
I think I'm dating the man that got me pregnant on a one-night stand. I'm a single mother to a beautiful little girl from a one-night stand about 4.5 years ago. I had just finished college and had just moved and wasn't looking for anything serious. It also happened just before I left on my 2-month-long post-college vacation. I have been dating this man now for 4 months. He's met my daughter once. They get along extremely well, but I don't let them overlap too much. I don't want to expose her to passing flings. And though he has mentioned wanting to continue, we aren't quite serious yet. Prior to last week, he's been coming back to my place because I had a bad experience going to another man's place a couple years ago. So I went back to his place for the first time. It's the same fucking building as that man. I didn't really recognize it until we pulled into the parking garage and went up the elevator, but I know it is. I recognized the hallways instantly. It also had a very recognizable condo smell. I don't know why I remember that, but I feel like they use the cleaning solutions that spas use, and it smells like eucalyptus and apartment musk. The condo itself is similar, but it's been 4 years, and I honestly don't remember anything but his room, and that he had a red couch and the layout, which I'm assuming is similar for most of the condos. He doesn't have the couch, but the layout's the same, and I'm pretty sure it has the same view from its main window. Before people come for me for not hunting him down, etc., when we slept together, I had just moved to the city after my master's. I never would have found his condo myself because I bussed back. Also, we had been drinking, obviously. It's been a week, but I genuinely think it's him now because, though they were busy, we met both times at 2 very similar events. 4 years ago, the man had shoulder-length wavy dark hair and a thick beard when we slept together. He does have a similar skin tone, kinda Mediterranean. The man I am dating has short cropped dark hair, light stubble, and glasses. He is also of Italian background. They have the same name. It's a very basic American name, so I never connected it together. Also, to make it worse, I likely look very different too. I used to be very thin and suffered from an eating disorder that my pregnancy really helped me to overcome. I've gained 30 pounds that I really needed. I also had short hair that I straightened, and I'm half black and admittedly look very different now with my longer curly hair. I've been dwelling on this for the entire week. I don't know what I'm asking, but I don't know if I also need legal advice or if I should cut contact because even if it isn't him, I don't think I'll ever be able to get over this weird feeling that it is. Is there a way to bring this up? Should I message him and let him have the option to ghost me? I'm scared he'll think I'm crazy if I bring this up or that I planned it or something weird like that. How do I approach this? Or should it not be approached at all? It's so fucking mental. I don't know what to do. Sorry if absolutely none of this makes any sense. Also, to be clear, I am stable time-wise and money-wise. I do not need this man in my life. My daughter has 2 amazing father figures in her uncles who visit every other day and absolutely love their roles in her life and would probably steal her if they could. Am I the asshole for telling my niece the family secret? I, 35 female, had 2 older sisters growing up, Jane and Kim. Kim got sick and died, but not before giving birth to my niece, Laura, 18 female. It had been a year after Kim's passing when Jane and Laura's dad, Tom, 42 male, confessed to dating and were now engaged. Everyone was surprised, but no one was vocally disgusted as me. I accused them of cheating. Jane and Tom explained that this wasn't something they had planned, but there was no cheating, and knew that Kim would want them to be happy. Convenient since she's, dead. I did not attend the wedding and was upset at how everyone else was so accepting of the relationship. But the thing that hurt me the most was how Jane and Tom intended to completely erase Kim from Laura's life. She was barely 2 when Kim died, and they decided it would be better if Laura thought Jane was her mother, in every sense of the word, after the adoption was finalized. Tom got rid of any items that would suggest he and Kim were ever in a relationship and made his family swear to never tell Laura the truth. Jane expected everyone on our side of the family to do the same, but I refused, and as such, I was denied access to Laura. It hurt, but when I thought about all those times Kim cried knowing that she wouldn't live long enough to see Laura grow up, there was just no way I could honor the lie. They even had Laura's name legally changed to something that Jane liked, as Kim picked out Laura's first name. I distanced myself from my family over time over this, but my parents always tried to get us to reconcile, citing that they didn't like this arrangement either, but accepting it was better than not being a part of Laura's life at all. I just couldn't do it. Growing up, Laura had known of me, but we never really interacted. Apparently, she's interested in studying a field that I work in and reached out to me through social media. The last time I saw her in person, she was 7, and I started to tear up at how much she looked like Kim. We would talk from time to time, and eventually Laura asked why I wasn't around. I tried to keep it vague, but Laura knew that there was more to the story, as I didn't seem like the person I was described to be. If we had been talking through DMs DMs like before, I probably wouldn't have done it, but we were video chatting and something about looking directly into her eyes broke me, and I confessed to everything. Before Kim died, she and I made a series of videos for Laura to watch at her big moments, and I told her that if she ever wanted to watch any of them, I'd send them. Laura asked me to send some, and then I heard nothing from her for days. Recently, I got a call from an enraged Jane and Tom, berating me for ruining their family. After Laura watched some of the videos, she confronted my parents, who confirmed everything. Laura has moved out and currently not speaking to anyone, and no one knows where she is right now. Everyone is angry at me. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that I didn't feel bad for not letting her cut her hair the way she wanted? I, 46 female, have a daughter 15 female. She has always been a bit boyish for a girl ever since she was younger. Instead of wearing dresses, she'd wear shirts and pants with small little boy shoes. People often asked if my daughter was a boy. I would answer no because she was my little girl. As she got older, I began to ask her to wear dresses to social gatherings we went to. I immigrated to the US in 2006, a year before I had my daughter. I was born and raised in Bangladesh. She would always comply and wear our dresses, though often she would wear a kurta and dress like a boy still. I didn't mind because it meant that she could be a bit girly. My friends often commented on how beautiful she looked when she wore dresses and looked feminine. However, recently, I've noticed my daughter has been trying to act more like a man. I thought she was in a phase because when she was younger, she got bullied by the other kids in the group. She still gets mad over it. However, I took her to the hair salon for a haircut recently because she asked. I obliged because she wanted to change up her hairstyle again. She always had a habit of doing so. I noticed she was secretive with her hairstyle and I immediately knew something was up. The hairstylist working on her asked me if I was okay with her chopping my daughter's hair up to her ears. I got confused and asked her to show me the photo. She did and I got mad. I told her that I wouldn't let her do the hairstyle. It wouldn't look good on her because it was too manly. The hairstylist asked me how much she should chop off and I told her to the collarbone. My daughter began to cry and make a scene in front of the hairstylist and the instructor who had walked over. I began telling her to pull herself together and to stop throwing a tantrum. She knew she wasn't allowed to have short hair because she didn't know how to take care of her hair properly. We eventually finished up and I told her we had to go. As I paid, she immediately barged out the front door. I found her in the back. I told her to get in the car and we had to go home. She gave me the silent treatment the entire day until I entered her room and asked her what she wanted for dinner. She immediately went off on me, calling me every name under the sun and calling me a bad mother. She demanded an apology from me when I told her that I didn't feel guilty whatsoever for what I did. I wouldn't apologize to her. Girls aren't supposed to have short hair. She must have gone talking about it because I've been getting calls and texts from her dad's side of the family, along with friends berating me for not letting my daughter get the haircut that she wanted and that it was only hair and it would grow back. It's part of my culture. I only want the best for my daughter. I love my daughter a lot and I would do anything for her, but I couldn't let her make this mistake. So, am I the asshole here? Storytime about the scariest thing that I saw when I was sleeping over at my friend's house. When I was 14, me and my best friend were having a sleepover. We were staying up late on FaceTime with a boy and we were laughing and having fun. I kept hearing noises from the hallway the whole time, but I just blew it off as the AC or something. She ended up going to the bathroom and around 4 in the morning I was sitting in the room by myself and the lights were off. I felt breathing on my neck and I kept hearing whispers. This is when I got kind of freaked out and when my friend came back in, she asked me what was wrong and I told her that all night I felt like something was watching us and I could hear someone whispering. We both went to a different room so that we could calm down because she thought it wouldn't be so freaky. After an hour of being in the other room, I started hearing chanting and footsteps outside of the door and I started losing it. She asked me what was wrong because tears were flowing down my face but I had no voice and I couldn't move. When I got the courage to speak, I asked, "Can you see it?" And she said, "See what?" And I told her that I saw a tall thing in a cloak walking around her room. We ran to the door, but that got its attention. The door handle wouldn't move, so the door wouldn't open, and the thing kept walking closer and closer with its hand out reaching for my face. Finally, the door opens and her mom comes running in asking why we were screaming. My friend hid behind her mom while I fell to the floor crying. I told her mom what I saw and she immediately checked the room. She told me there was nothing there, but when I turned to face her, it was standing right behind her on my friend's bed staring at the wall across the room. I started to not be able to breathe and begged her to take me home. She told us to go to bed and me and my friend were too scared to. Then all of a sudden the thing turns into smoke and goes into the ceiling. Me and my friend sat in the hallway all night until she got so tired that she went back to her bed. I sat on the floor of her room too scared to sleep and eventually I woke up out of nowhere having no idea how I had fallen asleep. I went home and I went to bed and I had the most terrifying nightmare of that thing carrying me around while I was lifeless. I haven't been the same since. I constantly put protecting sigils in my room and on the doors and windows. I haven't seen that thing since, but I don't want to risk seeing it again. My friend moving now, another family lives in the house with the tall cloaked monster. I hope they don't have the same experience me and my friend had.
What made you say F this shit him out? In the late 90s. One time I got pulled into the security office at a department store I worked at. They accused me of constantly using the sales day coupons for people that didn't present one. We always kept an extra copy at each register. I had watched my own department boss do it many times so I assumed it was okay. We didn't even collect the coupons to be counted for the cash office. We just chucked them after use. They claimed I lost the store hundreds of dollars and had been watching me for months do this awful, unforgivable crime for people spending $90 on already bloated price designer jeans. I'm sure the occasional 10% discount was just devastating. I got this huge lecture of how I was literally stealing from the store and they could call the police but would give me a chance to work off the damage. I couldn't believe how criminal I was made to feel over it. The best part when they called my boss in who pretended to have never done it before to save her own ass. I asked if they were firing me. They said yes and no. You will be let go, but you can choose to work off the damages so we don't take you to court. I told them I will just quit and asked for my last check. They said they will deduct what I owe from my last check, and I said well then you need to show me all the footage and prove that I was stealing. They wouldn't produce footage. Finally called the cops, and when the cops arrived, they were just as confused and called it an internal problem and advised them that this was overblown. I think they felt sorry for me. So finally upper management came in and just said just issue the last check. I will sign it here. So much drama over so stupid a thing. It was sad because the actual day my mom and daughter had come to the mall to meet me for lunch and I had to explain I just was forced to quit the job and was never allowed in that store again like I was some awful jerk. It was nice a few short years later, the entire chain bankrupted.
Hey guys, time for another story time. This story time is about the time I received a text message from a customer's girlfriend. So I started my business in 2020, but officially got up and running in February of 2021. I had a customer message me for Mother's Day 2021 asking for an order. Everything went according to plan with his order and everyone was happy. Or so I thought. Now remember, I dealt with this customer in 2021. But a few days ago in 2022, I received a text message from a number that I do not have in my phone. Extremely confused because I no longer give out my personal number to customers unless I'm extremely close with them. I continued the conversation as if it was somebody I might know. After that, this lady went off. She started asking why I was texting her man's phone and who I was. Extremely confused because I've been in a committed relationship for 3 years and now happily married. I asked her if she had the wrong number, which made her so much more mad. Sorry guys, part 2. Hey guys, part 2 of a customer's girlfriend texting my phone. So after asking if she had the wrong number, which made her even more mad, she proceeded to call me all kinds of names. She told me she had been with this man for the past 6 months and that my number was saved in his phone as Sweets. I thought this was hilarious because I think she thought that was a nickname. She then proceeded to send me screenshots. After reading the screenshots, I was thinking this girl has to be freaking crazy. 1, the messages were sent over a year ago, and they had only been dating for 6 months. And 2, the conversation was literally about the order getting picked up. There were even pictures of the order in the text messages. After explaining to her that I was just a treat maker, she became very apologetic. But regardless, I will not be helping this customer anymore just for safety reasons. And as always, thanks for the support and stay tuned.